greatest nation in the world.
A breath of fresh air.
Common sense.
Very impressive.
He's articulate, and he knows exactly what we need.
Herman Cain.
Herman Cain.
Solutions for a better America.
Anytime.
This is your host, Herman Cain. Thank you for joining us, because you know we are going to tell you the truth. Because we want you to be better informed and inspired to help make this a better America.
A better America.
Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people.
Herman Cain's connected, unfiltered perspective every day.
There's a lot going on to make America better. We have a new president that's going to be installed and sworn in on the 20th of this month. The confirmation hearings are now underway in Washington, D.C. in the United States Senate. And the Democrats and the liberal media are continuing their witch hunt relative to Jeff Sessions, one of their number one targets. They are determined that they are going to try to make this as difficult for Donald Trump and his appointees as they can. But the bottom line is, you've got 52 Republicans in the United States Senate, and the rule requires only a majority. And Donald Trump says he's pleased with the reception his cabinet nominees are getting on Capitol Hill.
Confirmation's going great. They haven't started yet. I think they'll all pass. I think every nomination will be, they're all at the highest level.
Because what a lot of people may not realize is that during this whole pre-confirmation process, all of the nominees have met individually, some senators, Republicans and Democrats, yes. So it's not like they're walking in there and they don't already have some idea of some of the questions that may be asked. And secondly, many of them are walking in and finding the senators already are comfortable with him. So that's another one of those things that, quite frankly, you don't really see in the background. And so that is good news. So it's not like Senator Sessions doesn't know the people there. And remember, he's been a senator now for 20 years. He knows the ropes and he knows most of them. And so we'll have to see how it goes, rather. Now, 7 others are also set for hearings this week. 7 of Trump's nominees. But Chuck, Senator No Schumer, that's going to be his new moniker, says the Senate committee hearing schedule doesn't allow for proper vetting.
Jamming all these hearings into 1 or 2 days, making members run from committee to committee, makes no sense.
He didn't say that when Obama got his approved in 1 day. They approved 7 of his on day 1 or either in 1 day. Now, all of a sudden, it makes no sense. Why? Anything to slow down Donald Trump and to slow down what he's trying to do. Josh Earnest, White House spokesperson, says Democrats are right to demand the Office of Government Ethics complete its reviews, just as Republicans did with President Obama's nominees.
It certainly is the path that was recommended by Mitch McConnell 8 years ago, but now he and the rest of the Republicans are poised to fold like a cheap suit.
No, they're not poised to fold like cheap suits, Josh. You see, what you're not telling people is that even though Mitch McConnell had suggested that you do that 8 years ago, you didn't do it. You never tell them the whole truth. You only tell them the part you want them to remember. Now, this one, folks, is purely for political theater as well as increase his name ID. Senator Cory Booker, Democrat from New Jersey. he will take the rare, if not unprecedented, step of testifying against a Senate colleague.
There's a whole spectrum of things, and Jeff Sessions' own words represent a real threat to vulnerable populations in this country, and is something that I feel necessary to do everything I can to speak out against.
How long has he known Senator Sessions? Probably not long. And Booker says that Sessions has a concerning record on civil rights. Really? Concerning record. Here's the other little thing that many people may not have connected the dots on. Senator Cory Booker has aspirations, one, to possibly get reelected when he runs again. I think he got appointed to the job. And two, he has aspirations to maybe run for the White House one day. Good. Nothing wrong with that. So this is an opportunity for his 15 minutes of fame, if you want to call it that. As I said yesterday, all of this noise surrounding these candidates is not genuine because these Democrat senators have genuine concerns. No. It's because they want to slow down Donald Trump in his transition. He does not want these cabinet heads to be able to go to work day one when Donald Trump is already working, and they are already working. Another little item that the Democrats are making a lot of noise about: the Trump transition. President-elect Donald Trump is hiring son-in-law Jared Kushner as a senior advisor with a wide-ranging portfolio, bringing to the West Wing one of the most influential figures in the Trump camp. Mr. Kushner, his son-in-law, has played a large role in Mr. Trump's transition, helping to select top-ranking staff and set strategy. Transition advisors said Mr. Trump's team has long wanted to bring him to the White House, but saw a potential obstacle in a 1967 anti-nepotism law. However, they have concluded with counsel that that appointment doesn't violate the law. Here's why. He's not being appointed as a cabinet member. He's simply being appointed as an advisor. And here's another little reminder that the liberal media and the Democrats will not tell you. Back in the early 1990s, a president by the name of Bill Clinton appointed his wife to head up the Hillary Care Commission, as it became known. Where were they screaming about nepotism back then? Fact of the matter is, they were not. So you see, Donald Trump sees something in his son-in-law that he believes will be helpful to him doing the job as president, which is why he's doing it. But you better believe that the Democrats and the liberals are going to be crying foul at every turn. But the Trump team has concluded that it doesn't break any laws. None whatsoever. Here's another little transition nugget. Outgoing President Barack Obama warned during the EU referendum campaign that Britain would be at the back of the queue for a trading agreement if voters opted to leave the EU. Remember that? That's a threat. A representative of Britain was in town by the name of Mr. Johnson. He said, quote, "Clearly the Trump administration-to-be has a very exciting agenda of change. One thing that won't change, though, is the closeness of the relationship between the U.S. and the U.K. I would hope the closeness wouldn't change, but it certainly didn't help with President Obama's little stab in the back to Israel on the way out the door. There's going to be some necessary repairs needed there, but it appears as if Britain also says that they're going to try to maintain a good relationship. President Obama actually threaten Britain. What does that do for our relations with other countries? Nothing positive. Gets back to what I talked about earlier. If you get a positive tone from the top, it has a ripple effect throughout the economy. So tonight, President Obama is going to deliver his farewell speech. I will be watching along with some of my staff who do not have to get up too early in the morning. Jared will be watching. And then tomorrow on this show, during this segment, I am going to give my farewell to Obama, President Obama. In other words, I expect a lot of flowery narrative, but tomorrow I'm going to give you the flowery facts relative to what he said. I'm not going to speculate on how he's going to describe his legacy. We will let him do that himself. And I suspect if he is true to form relative to some of the things he said over the past 8 years, he will put both feet in his mouth and not be challenged by the liberal media. But when he puts both feet in his mouth by not giving you the facts, tomorrow on the Herman Cain show, we will defeat him. Not F-E-A-T, F-E-E-T. You're listening to the Herman Cain show.
When you're listening to Herman Cain, you won't miss any breaking news, and you'll never miss out on a single solution for a better America.
How do I get it on my device? I mean,
don't think we need a union around here. Now that you
and I can't get it up here because I haven't signed in, I think.
actually agreed to block a pay raise in order to
Oh,
get
wait a
the
minute.
company to help them recruit
Do you have to
new
scroll a
members.
long way down on Facebook?
Work law blocked union officials from
Huh?
requiring us to join or pay dues to a union anyway. That's true, but union officials can still keep us from negotiating our own employment terms if the unions voted in. I just feel like we should
Let's see if you can put it up here.
choose whether to unionize, not the company or
Click.
union
Oh,
officials.
click. No,
What
that's
can
click
we
to
do?
listen.
The National Right to Work
Facebook
Legal Defense
polls.
Foundation can help. To learn
See
about
if you
your
can find
rights
it.
or ask for free legal aid, contact the foundation
Because it won't.
toll-free
I'm not
at
really signed up
1-800-336-3600
or logged in.
or go online to www.righttowork.org.
So I'm telling you.
Life can hit you with the
See,
unexpected.
you all sign in.
The loss of a job.
I don't, so it won't let me
Illness.
do it.
A dramatic jump in your mortgage payment.
Well, go to
You
YouTube.
Feeling helpless, forcing you to make difficult decisions. If
Because
you
I pull it
fall
up
behind
here on
your
YouTube, but
mortgage,
I don't
are
see
worried
where it
about
says
financial
listen now.
problems, or are afraid of foreclosure, it's time to take control. You don't have to lose your home. The National Foundation for Credit Counseling can help. Seek advice
Oh,
from
maybe
our
I need
certified housing
refresh.
counselors today. Call us at 866
Oh, that's right. I did refresh when you-
6322 or visit mortgagehelpnow.org. The National Foundation for
You there, Herman?
Credit Counseling.
Yes.
Real solutions
You streaming?
for real
Yes.
Okay.
Foundation for Credit Counseling is a
Not saying
nonprofit
anything.
organization that has been providing financial counseling and education
Um,
for 60 years. Our national network
Wait a minute,
of
on-
agencies have helped millions of consumers with
Are you looking on YouTube or Facebook?
member agencies are approved by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
I'm in almost every school bus and classroom. I go to school with your children. We say the Pledge of Allegiance together. You see me around the neighborhood and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm one out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger. This problem is closer than you think. My teacher tells me we can grow up to be whatever we want. I want to grow up to be someone who doesn't go to bed hungry. There's enough food in this country to feed everybody. Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help. Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me. Quietly.
popped up. Maybe
We are
just a
Feeding
delay thing.
America, brought to you by Feeding
Thank you.
America and the Ad Council.
Later we'll figure out how to do it over here on this screen.
Many of them older, have a heart condition known as atrial
So now
fibrillation
is it
or
on
AFib.
both
I'm Georgia
YouTube
State
and
Senator Nan Orrock.
Facebook?
Women in Government urges you to learn the symptoms of AFib.
Okay.
Palpitations, trouble
It should be up, Shana B.
Well, I'm going to play a little bit of Sessions' opening remarks.
Okay.
To learn more, visit womeningovernment.org.
He acknowledged Law Enforcement Appreciation Day yesterday.
Okay.
And the death of the Orlando people.
Gotcha.
And DBO is carrying us live, so we should mention that because they were wall to wall yesterday.
Okay. But you're going to play a little clip of his opening statement.
Yeah.
Got it.
Where he acknowledged the two fallen heroes in Orlando. The manhunt continues for Markeith Lloyd.
Right.
All right.
Okay. And then I'll take some calls, time permitting, but I'll also take them at the bottom of the hour.
It's most commonly committed by a family member or someone they trusted. If you suspect abuse, contact your local law enforcement agency. To learn more, go to ncpc.org/seniors. That's ncpc.org/seniors. A message from the National Crime Prevention Council and the U.S. Department of Justice.
And there's been a lot of protesters interrupting.
Or perhaps a misleading website. Loan modification scams. They come in all shapes and sizes and under different names. Loan rescue firms, counseling services, mortgage consultants, sometimes posing as a legitimate mortgage company willing to help you modify
just
your loan and get
reacting
caught
to
up
the
with your
witch
payments.
hunt.
But beware, these are highly trained con artists looking to steal your home. They often know who you are, where you live, and because it's public record, know if you are on the brink of foreclosure. You're not alone, however. The National Crime Prevention Council and U.S. Department of Justice have partnered to help homeowners identify and steer clear of these scam artists.
McGruff the Crime Dog here. Protect your home and safeguard your finances. It only takes a little time to become informed. Start by finding a free legitimate housing counselor today.
Take the first step. Visit www.ncpc.org/mortgage-fraud. That's ncpc.org/mortgage-fraud. This message is from the National Crime Prevention Council and U.S. Department of Justice.
Anytime.
Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show. Thank you for joining us. Senator Jeff Sessions has started to give his comments during the Senate confirmation hearing. We want to share a little of his opening remarks with you.
Every major law enforcement organization in America has endorsed my candidacy. I feel the weight of the confidence they placed in me. And gentlemen and ladies, I'll do my best to be worthy of that. And if I may, Mr. Chairman, yesterday was Law Enforcement Officer Appreciation Day. Sadly, on that day, we lost two of our brave officers. Orlando Police Department, Master Sergeant Deborah Clayton, one of the first officers to respond to the Orlando nightclub shooting in June, was shot and killed while confronting a subject wanted for murder. Sergeant Clayton, a 17-year veteran of the force, was married with two children. While assisting in the search for that assailant, Orange County Deputy First Class Sheriff Norman Lewis was killed in a traffic accident on his motorcycle. He was an 11-year veteran of the Sheriff's Office. These honorable and dedicated have dedicated their lives to keeping their community safe, and we should remember their service and keep them and our families and their families in our prayers.
I think that was a classic thing to do. But did you note that he said that every law enforcement agency in the country has endorsed his nomination for Attorney General? Now, there are a lot of demonstrations that are going on outside and inside, but the ones that go on inside, they put them out. There might be a bunch of them outside. But it is all part of the old witch hunt. It is all in response to the hype that the media has created around Jeff Sessions. Senator Jeff Sessions. So he is now making his statement. After he makes his opening statement, then he's going to be taking questions, and we'll see how long this goes. And trust me, there's going to be some testimony supporting his nomination, and there will also be some testimony against his nomination. The biggest of which, the most publicized of which, is Senator Cory Booker, who is going to testify against him because, as Senator Cory Booker says, even though it's unprecedented, he wants to take the step of testifying against his Senate colleague.
There's a whole spectrum of things, and Jeff Sessions' own words represent a real threat to vulnerable populations in this country, and is something that I feel necessary to do everything I can to speak out against.
And if it's those own words that happened 30 years ago, and it's the ones that I've seen reported, he was joking. Look at the man's record of what he has done. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show. So far, so good. So what? And it's the same, well, remember, we both turn off our Friends of Herman Cain. So it's totally dedicated. It's not trying to, because see, that may have helped. Who knows? Okay. And the thing about it is, see, I still get a strong Verizon signal through. Well, maybe we've learned something. Let's just check it out. Maybe we need to crash it one more time to see if that's it. Let's do an intentional crash. Interesting. So, Shana B, you're there?
He stepped out to go use the men's room.
Oh, I thought he turned the mic off so he could curse.
Well, there's a lot of that going on.
Not used to this censorship over here.
I know you're not. It'll create some discipline in you.
Although I think that the Alabama fans out there have broken all those laws today, at least.
Nah, they'll get over it. Oh, I did. Okay, see, I can't see it. Well, let me see what they are. Got some questions from YouTube. Really? Okay. Will we be able to see how many people, you know? So you're going back and forth from YouTube and Facebook? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Hey, Jared.
Yes, sir.
We just got a question off of YouTube. Do we know anything about troops moving into Poland? Would you see if there's a story out there about that? I'm afraid to touch anything because everything's working.
Okay.
See if there's a story about troops moving into Poland, and I would assume it's Russian. They blame Russia for everything else.
Yeah.
Now, you can tell how many. Now, this still says 6 are watching right now. That's about right. Okay. Okay. That number won't change, though, unless I refresh, though. Right? I'm not going to do that. Why don't I refresh? Now, if things go good, we will have Dan embedded. You send it out. Do an article. And try it tomorrow. No, let people. Yeah, I want them to write an article, and I want them to post it on Facebook that you can live stream it. So, is the live stream on Facebook going by way of YouTube with the connection? Gotcha.
Okay, Herman. So the answer is yes, and the action is being cast by the Obama administration as a reaction to Russia's military actions in Ukraine, including continuing combat in the east of Ukraine and its annexation of Crimea back in 2014. So it's so it's true.
So what troops? Who are the troops from what country?
It's 6,000 additional troops from the 4th Infantry Division, 10th Combat Aviation Brigade, and the 3rd Armored Brigade Combat Team. So they're ours.
They're ours?
Yeah, they're ours, and there's also some NATO troops there too.
Okay.
A combination.
All right, I'm not going to get into that on the air. It's unfolding.
But the person that asked the question just got the answer.
Yeah. What's his first name? Basil? If you're watching, Jared looked it up, and there is some troop movement, and it's still unfolding. So we will go into more detail about it tomorrow. Because when a story is unfolding, I don't like to get into it unless we have more of the facts. You know, that little thing that liberals can't handle. They can't handle the facts, as Jack Nicholson would say.
So we'd like to call a media a fluid story.
A fluid story. All right.
That I understand the immense responsibility I would have. I am not naive. I know the threat that our rising crime and addiction rates pose to the health and safety of our country.
You know something about Jeff Sessions?
I deeply understand that
He has a distinct Southern accent, but that doesn't bother me. I'm looking at the man's record. I don't care about his accent. Well, we will see. Okay, we're going to light up the phones. Hopefully. Lisa, are you watching? May I have another cup of tea, please? I'm afraid to move. Something might break.
Back in 30.
Back in 30. It worked. I didn't realize we could go through cyberspace and ask for a cup of tea. Hey, we got to put it through the torture test. Boom, boom, boom.
Anytime.
Boom, 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 boom. Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show. We're going to be taking your phone calls at 877-310-2100. The confirmations are underway, starting with Senator Jeff Sessions. Cory Booker says he feels obligated to testify against him. Well, they're also going to have some people who are going to testify on his behalf. And quite frankly, even though I'm not testifying, I am one voice out there. I can't find anything to object to. 877-310-2100. Justin, you're on the Herman Cain Show. What's on your mind today?
Hello?
Yes, Justin, you on the Herman Cain Show. Go ahead.
Oh, hey, Herman. How you doing today?
Great.
I just want to make a point on this whole, because I'm here in Florida, and I was kind of almost on the way, essentially down the street when this guy went on this murdering thing, and they killed that police officer down here in Florida.
Right.
And through the investigation and learning more and more up to now, I think it's kind of further proving the incompetence of our justice system and the government, because it said he was on release under federal watch. This guy has a rep sheet back to 1996. He's been arrested over 20 times and is extremely dangerous.
Right.
Why are they releasing these people if they are dangerous? I think it shows the incompetence of our government, and I kind of wanted to tie that to the new Trump administration coming in with Jeff Sessions. I don't think that these games are going to be played anymore.
That last part that you said, I would agree with you, and I asked myself the same question when I heard that. If he had been in custody, if they had a rap sheet on him, why was he able to be let go? I don't know all of the facts about why he was let go, but you're right. With Jeff Sessions as the Attorney General, Donald Trump as president, the tone is going to be, if they break a law, you're going to pay the time, or you're going to be kicked out, or you're going to be deported, or whatever the case may be. So you raise a very good point. I don't have all of the answers, and I'm not going to point any fingers or anything, but we've had too much permissiveness in enforcing the laws, especially when it comes to people who are here illegally. Thanks for the call. Yoda, you're on the Herman Cain Show.
Yes, I want to comment on President Obama last days.
Yes.
I think President Obama has been a terrific president, and I think history will judge him more favorably than future President Trump. And the reason I say this is President Obama's administration has been the least corrupt administration in recent history. We didn't have one person in the Obama administration be charged and actually go to jail like we saw in the Bush administration with Scooter Libby, who was charged with a felony. And we didn't see any type of, scandals that we saw in the Clinton administration with Monica Lewinsky. This president has been scandal-free than any other president before him.
Now,
and as far as Jeff Sessions goes, Jeff Sessions is a racist. Bottom line.
Yoda. Okay, I'll let you talk. Now, let me talk. You are saying Jeff Sessions is a racist based upon nothing. Absolutely nothing. You have no facts to prove that he is a racist.
Oh, yes, I do.
No, you do not. Then why don't you share that with somebody and then inform us? And here's the other thing. I know where you got this stuff from about no scandals. Valerie Jarrett said the same thing. You are repeating the same talking points that she talked about. Okay, no. I gave you plenty of time. Hold on. Hold your horses right there. Let's take them one at a time. See, you call up and you want to start running all of these things together, and, that's supposed to be one real short answer to all of them. First of all, Jeff Sessions is not a racist, and you have no proof. Secondly, there may not have been the type of scandals that was in the Clinton administration. There may not have been the type of scandals that Scooter Libby and some others were found, in some of the Republican administrations. I get that. I acknowledge that. However, your statement that Barack Obama is going to go down as one of the best presidents ever, that's not true. If you're going to base it upon, if you're going to just base it upon likability, a lot of people like him. And a lot of people like you want to defend any and everything that he does. You're going to try to make his legacy appear as if he did all these great things. So if you think he's going to go down as a great president, then I ask you, so that means that you are happy with the new normal of GDP growth being 2.0 or less. You're happy with the crime rate in Chicago, his hometown, being 762 last year, which is up over a couple of hundred from the year before. You are happy with the fact that relative to Benghazi, his administration lied to the families. Do I need to go on? I don't think so.
Can I ask you one question, Herman?
One question.
Okay. Why is it then Obama's approval rating is higher than Donald Trump? Even in Georgia, which is a red state, I was listening to WSB radio yesterday, Obama's approval rating is over 55%.
Yoda, I just told you why. Weren't you listening? People like him, but that doesn't mean that he's doing a good job. And remember, polls are based on personality, not policy. You got that, Yoda?
Oh, now it's based on personality because he's a black man in the White House.
Ah, Shane, that's enough. That's enough. Now you want to go to the black man in the White House. Is that your best shot? I have never criticized him because he was a black man in the White House, Yoda, and I resent that. I have criticized his policy, not him being a black man. You and other liberals bring that up. Polls are based on personality, not policy. And the other thing that you all love to do is to talk over people when they're trying to explain some things to you. Or you want to go back and bring in the Bush administration. Or you want to bring up some of the stuff that's been said in the media about Donald Trump. There's been more stuff said in the media since Donald Trump ran for president, got the certification and the whole sequence, more stuff that's been inaccurate than stuff that has been accurate. Okay? Now you want to talk about scandals absent the Obama administration. Here's a partial list. Operation Fast and Furious. The Hillary email scandal. The only reason that she didn't get convicted is because they decided they didn't want to go forward. Benghazi, that was a scandal. What about the IRS targeting conservative organizations? And people taking the fifth. You don't call that a scandal when people take the fifth rather than answer questions or tell the truth? What about the Department of Justice seizing the Associated Press phone records, as well as the phone and email records from a Fox News reporter? What about that scandal? Do I need to go on? The answer is no. And now you want to play because Obama is a black man in the White House. Yoda, call me back when you have something better to offer to basically prove your point. You just won't let it go, will you? Eric, you're on the Herman Cain Show. What's on your mind today?
Hey, Herman, how's it going? Hey, we got this murderer here in Orlando.
Yes.
Keith Lloyd, I think that's what his name is. He murdered this police officer.
Yes.
This guy had a long rap sheet. He had 4 years. He's been he abused or attacked officers in the past. My question is, with the federal judges, and I'm not saying specifically with him if this is the case, but I've seen it happen a lot, especially in Chicago, L.A. Is there any repercussions for judges that don't follow federal laws when it comes to putting people away, mandatory sentences, if they don't uphold those laws? Is there any? Because I know it's not going to happen under Obama.
Right.
I just wondered if there's any laws or anything that could be done to hold these judges accountable.
That's a good question, Eric, and I honestly do not know the answer. I do not know the answer. So we'll have to follow up on that because that is a good question. But it starts with enforcing the laws. The other thing about some of these judges is that they have some great leeway in terms of what they can impose as a punishment for some people. So I don't have an answer to that question. But that's a great question that we ought to follow and see what we can find out. Let's see what Jared can find out, and we'll talk about that at an upcoming show. Yep. That's one of those I do not know, folks. Doug, welcome to the Herman Cain Show. What's on your mind today?
Shucky Ducky, how you doing, Herman?
I'm doing shucky ducky fine, thank you.
That's great. If I wish I had a little more time with you, I drive a cab down here in Florida.
Right.
And when I bring up Herman Cain's name to some black folks that are liberal, it creates a firestorm in my vehicle.
I'm not surprised.
I love you to death. I voted for you.
Thank
when
you.
You're in the primary, and I wish you were in the White House.
You're very
I gotta
kind.
tell you that.
Thanks.
But I heard you play the intro to Jeff Sessions there before the Senate,
Yes.
and he's really going to seem like an oddball because he wants to uphold the law.
Yeah.
And my question is, who holds our Attorney General accountable that doesn't want to uphold the law? I mean, what recourse do we have as citizens?
The
when
president
the tells the Attorney General, don't enforce the law.
Yeah. The president of the United States. The president represents us, and the president is supposed to hold the Attorney General accountable on behalf of the people. That's who holds him accountable. And as you know, we have an incoming president that believes in upholding the law. And I believe Jeff Sessions is going to carry out that vision. So that's who holds him responsible, because we are going to hold the president responsible. That's how it works. Well, thanks a lot, my friend. I understand about the vitriol when you mention my name from a lot of black people. That's because they're in denial, like Yoda, who called earlier. I'm not going to sit here and do circular logic with Yoda because he doesn't have any logic to prove any of his accusations. Tony, welcome to the Herman Cain Show. What's on your mind today?
Thanks, Herman, for taking my call. Yeah, I'm a man of color. I heard Yoda's comments. And what I think it boils down to, I'm a conservative, and I talk to a lot of African-American liberals or Democrat supporters, and I think there's a real insecurity that Barack Obama soothes, the idea of having this so-called black man, this biracial man, in the White House, and it's an idea of getting back at the white man that just soothes them and makes them feel better. But he's done nothing for black people. It's more of a symbol. He's a symbol to black people. He represents, retribution, but he has done nothing for black people. When you look at cities like Detroit, Baltimore, I travel all the time.
Right.
You go to Baltimore, you go to Cleveland. These are largely black cities run by Democrats, and they run them to the ground. One last thing I got to say.
Yeah.
Black American support of Barack Obama, to me, is akin to Mexicans supporting blindly a man who's half Puerto Rican and half white.
Yes.
Barack Obama's not even half African American. He's half Kenyan. Different culture, completely different story, if you believe the narrative.
Yes.
And it's the one drop rule that kind of has them buying into this idea, and he's used it to his advantage.
Yes.
He gets blind support from black people, and he's done nothing for them. So I just want to tell Yoda, you're unoriginal. You need to think critically, and it's your kind of thinking that has America where we're at right now.
Very well said, Tony. And it's his kind of thinking that's going to continue to create a divided States of America through the lens of the media. Very well put. Many black people cannot bring themselves to be honest about the lousy job this man did because he's black. That's the irony of it. Thank you, Tony. Very well said. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show.
He's been there. He's done that. And he wants to give you the insight and the advantage. Herman Cain, solutions for a better America.
You see, can they hear me on the stream, Shane B?
I don't have the stream up.
Oh. But I can talk, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, everything is going down. Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay. Now, I was going to say to those that are watching on live stream that this is a great example of the contrast between somebody that thinks like Yoda, who was black, and somebody who thinks like Tony, who's black. Now, the official estimate of the number of black people that voted for Donald Trump, they say 8%. So Tony must be in that 8%, along with me and a lot of other people. But Tony raised a very good point about some black people can't bring themselves to be critical of Barack Obama because he's black. That is a great point. My job. And my inclination doesn't have me hung up on that, because I ran for public office twice. Once as a United States Senator from the state of Georgia, did not win. Then I ran for president. Why? Had nothing to do with color, except green. I ran because I wanted to do something to help not just black people, all people. This is what people like Yoda can't get past. This is why the vitriol and the criticism of a Donald Trump continues even as we speak. Because the liberal media and Democrats, some of them, are spreading the narrative that Donald Trump is in this for himself. He's bringing in all of these rich billionaires, all of these rich people, stacking the deck. No. Why can't he just be patriotic enough that he wants to help the United States of America? That's what I believe, and that's what a lot of people believe. And that's what the people who have kept their jobs in some of these Rust Belt states, that's what they believe. So the point that I have made often and will continue to make, folks, you can't get caught up in all of the negative narrative, because that's all they've got to play. That's all they've got to play. And Yoda, with all due respect, you can think of him as a great president all you want to. But when the history books are written, it's going to be about the facts. Somebody's going to write a lovely piece saying how great he did, how great a job he did. And speaking of peace, didn't he get the Nobel Peace Prize before he did anything? He did. Look at the peace we had acquired in Iraq, and it's now gone back to war. And you're going to tell me that's not his fault? I know people were critical of George Bush going into Iraq, meaning on behalf of this country. But there was peace there before Barack Obama took over, and he pulled the troops out, told the enemy when we were going to leave, how many were going to leave. Now we got all-out war there. The Middle East is on fire. Look at the situation in Syria because of his philosophy of leading from behind. Peace? And he got a Nobel Peace Prize? The world is more at war today than it was 8 years ago because of the lead from behind policies of Barack Obama. So Yoda, go ahead and pat him on the back. I won't be patting with you, nor will a whole lot of other people. And that's a personal note. See, those of you that are watching on the stream, the listeners didn't get that little speech. That's the beauty of streaming. Because if I'm on a roll and I'm getting upset, I could keep going. A Nobel Peace Prize, and the world is more at war today than it was 8 years ago. That's unbelievable. But yet, you do have some folk who want to say, oh, he's been a great president. Approval rating is based upon polls. In fact, Shane DeBee sent me that. One of you guys sent me that. It's not based upon policy. This show is critical of policy, the effects of policy, not polls. Okay? Now I need a break.
Coming back.
Now that I got it off my chest.
Stay right there, pal. And throw in this little segment here that tomorrow you're going to do your farewell.
Got it.
All right. Anytime.
Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show. Thank you for joining us. There's a lot going on in Washington, as you know. The confirmations are started. Jeff Sessions is the first up. He's still at it. It's being televised live on at least 2 stations that I have my monitors set for. And I think he's going to do just fine. And like I said, a lot of it is just for show. I'm going to be curious as to what Cory Booker is going to have to say, since it is unprecedented for a senator to testify against somebody. It's not unprecedented for him to vote against him, but it's unprecedented that he's going to testify against him. You know why he's doing it? He's doing it to get a little 15 minutes of fame because down the road he wants to run for office. And don't forget that tonight President Obama is going to give his farewell speech. He's going to tell people like Yoda how wonderful a president he has been and how wonderful things are. And remember the statement, by nearly every measure, he says, Americans are better off today than they were 8 years ago.
By almost every measure, the American economy and American workers are better off than when I took office.
Well, we will allow him to probably say that again tonight in his farewell speech. And tomorrow, I will do my farewell to President Obama. In other words, during this same hour, tonight he's going to put both feet in his mouth, I believe. Tomorrow on the Herman Cain Show, we will defeat him with the facts. Not F-E-A-T, F-E-E-T. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show. And yes, I'm Herman Cain.
So watching the farewell speech, anything you want to take away from that, or
anything that he says that stretches the truth or distorts or stretches the facts, or the facts will not.
We got to replay the whole damn thing.
I want you to make note of it and dig up the facts that disproves what he says.
Okay, I'll have fun. All right, you guys have fun.
I'm going to also watch it, painfully, but I will. So have a good show, man.
All right, guys.
But yeah, that's got it.
Herb, I'll text too. We can, if it starts getting ridiculous, we can text.
Okay. I'll have my phone nearby. Thanks.